Bit of a wrestling match going on. Sharp gets the cross in. Keane on the outside of the foot.
Who would be the person you wanted to impress the most in training?
I would say Roy Keane as well, because if you gave the ball away, if Roy Keane hadn't shouted at you in a training session, then you knew you'd done okay. So you could come off and say, well, you know, I was quite happy with the way that went. But very often you could not get through a training session because as soon as you gave the ball away, Roy was on it. That was just the type of person he was. But he played like he trained, and that's why he was so successful.
What's that like, getting like that one-on-one with Roy Keane shouting at you? How's that compared to an Alex Ferguson hair
Do you know
dryer?
what? It didn't really happen to me. I mean, every now and again, he'd have a bit of a snap, but I always got on really well with Roy. There wasn't our paths never crossed at all, and you know we never fell out. And I was with him a matter of months ago when we both went to a Salford City game to watch them, and I was there with my son, and he sat with my son, and he was absolutely brilliant with him, and he is great company. But as a footballer, he was a different animal. But you had to be. You know, if you want to be successful, you've got to have a certain amount of that, and Roy had plenty.
Yeah, it's great to see him back on TV as well, being a pundit. He's one of the best
box
pundits.
office.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
big
time.
Yeah, he's absolutely superb. He doesn't mince his words. He says it as it is. And he's sort of a step up from Scholesy, in that Scholesy is like that as well. But, I mean, Roy just takes that, you know, I like what I say, to a completely different level. And that's why people love tuning in to watch him.
He has a fearsome reputation, but say I remember, you know, having a bit of a laugh, and you know, but when it was serious, and sometimes even as a young kid, you used to go and train with the first team at United, and you used to sometimes dread, please don't put me in Roy's team, because you were thinking, if I give the ball away here, I'm going to have Roy Keane on my case here. You're thinking, put me in with like Giggs or Beckham or somebody else, but don't put me in Roy. You're looking around to see who's handing, you know, the coach handing the bibs out, to see if you got a bib. You're looking around hoping that Roy doesn't have a bib. But say he had that, you know, people say when he was at United, he was the manager on the pitch, which he was, and I still think he's still so much to offer as a coach, and eventually as a manager. Obviously he's down working with Martin O'Neill. He was at Aston Villa for a little bit. He's had sort of little spells, but he's so much to offer, and I know even when he speaks now, he speaks really well. He knows what he's talking about.
Remember when I first signed for Man United, Roy Keane was still there, and he would scare the life out of me. Right? He would say, he would just say whatever was in his mind, and it would put everybody on the back foot straight away. So you don't even know how to talk to him, don't even know how to interact with him. He would say it as it was, so bluntly and so honestly, yeah, that you'd be going, oh my God, you can't say that. And he would just say it out loud in a changing room full of grown men. He would scare me so badly, right? That just speaking to him, hello, Mr. Keane.
You weren't like that.
I swear on my life, you're like that. Everybody's like that with
Mr.
him.
Keane.
Mate, he would fight. I played one game with Roy Keane, right, and it was a reserve team game because he was going through the motions of leaving Man United, right. I think they were on pre-season tour, and he fell out with the manager at this point. This is when he went and signed for Celtic, and I played one pre-season game with him, right, and within 5 minutes of my very ever first reserve team game for Man United, I rolled the ball out to him, and because it wasn't rolled at the right speed, he turned round, put his foot on the ball, and shouted at me. And I'm this 22-year-old kid just signed, and I'm thinking, no. And he stopped the game to shout at me, and I'm thinking, wow, this guy is different.